Hello, everybody, and welcome to How to Automate Annotation in Civil 3D. I'm your host, Todd Tilford, a Senior Technical Specialist within the Civil team at ATG, Team Dirt. I have been in the civil design industry for over 22 years, designing subdivision, commercial, and road projects throughout Florida, where I'm currently living in Cocoa Beach, Florida, working remote. You all will receive an email with this recording and other helpful resources after the event. If you're watching from YouTube, don't forget to make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date with new content as it comes out. Let's go ahead and get started. So today's topic is automating animation in Civil 3D. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I kind of want to do a poll first and see some of the, if we've got some beginners in here, or we have some new users, or some advanced, intermediate. I'm going to go ahead and launch it and go ahead and please answer. Are you a current user of the CIM Project Suite, CTC tools? And what level users are you of this software tool? All right, we got about people coming in. We got a couple people left. All right, two more left here. Couple, not bad. All right. Got a couple more people. We are looking at we have 78% do not use the CIM Project Suite. Okay, that's a good tool to have. And then we have a lot of beginners and we have some advanced users in here today and not a little intermediate. So we got a mixed bag. We have some cool stuff we'll go over today. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll. I appreciate you participating. And we'll just sort of share some results. Let's start getting into this webinar. Okay, today I just said we're going to be going over automate animation in Civil 3D. Let's go ahead and have a look at the agenda. So how can I automate this Civil 3D animation? Okay, when I want to animate something in AutoCAD and map in Civil 3D, there's different ways that you can animate this, right? So I can go into AutoCAD and create different things that have shortcuts, maybe using tool palettes, and we'll talk about that. We'll go into animation and map 3D using some attribute data and stuff like that to bring in GIS and automate it that way, right? We can go into Civil 3D and automate it, animate it with all the object data and label styles and such. And then today we're going to talk about the CTC tool Data Wizard, how we can automate it, making legends. And then we'll talk about how to automate a lot of these objects and stuff using the CTC tools Label Genie. All right, so let's kind of go through this. Annotation AutoCAD, how can we automate some of this stuff, right? Templates, right? We can have all our site plan data and things off to the right into a border, bring that in as a template, start using that right away and start labeling things inside our drawing, right? Having a legend and maybe some one or two different multi-leaders to start working right away. The other way is fields, right? Fields, we can automate fields within the title blocks and such. So once we start a project and they're linked to the sheet set, all that data is automated, right, through the sheets and all the sheet sets, right? So we can go through there and make changes, and we don't have to chase our tail chasing that data and updating every sheet number, things of that nature. So we can push annotation through our sheet sets. Tool palettes. I'm going to show you how to drag some multi-leaders and some text and how to use tool palettes to annotate things, right? Constantly typing in, remove, this and that. Why don't I have that off into a palette so you can just drag it in? Same thing, talking about multi-leaders. You know, create commonly used annotation in your palettes, right? So you don't sit there all day. You know, we have some general things that we always create, and why are we constantly typing those in? Let's put them in a palette and then drag them out. Same thing with legends, you know, create your basic legend of all your water structures, storm structures, line types and such, and put them in a palette and then drag them in. I'm going to show you how to use Data Wizard, and you can use different create custom legends. And I used it for a little bit of estimating that I'm going to show you today. Okay. The annotation AutoCAD map 3D. So I got a little project. I'm going to bring in some shape files and some GIS. I'm going to show you how to make some attribute data, kind of throw it in a block and give you some tips and tricks on how to bring in some of that data. We're going to show you in a block attribute and how to create that attribute using map and a text. And then we're going to show you how to make a map annotation template. So once that data comes in, I can animate or annotate all these different pipes from fields and such. Then there's always the annotation Civil 3D. I only put a handful of the ones that I commonly use. There's a bunch other ones on there, but you know, surface labels, right? Slopes, spot elevations, and contours. Those are going to automate certain things. Alignment labels, station offsets, single, multiple, segmented lines and intersections and such like that. Pipe network, strong one. This is going to show you how to label a single pipe or a whole entire plan or profile or section view. And then profile labels, right? So we have station elevations and such. So those are just ways to label. Then we can't forget about tables, right? So we have point labels, alignment labels, pipe networks and such that we can put into tables. We can also come up with volume calculations and put those in a table. And then this is a little bit of the CTC tool data wizard, right? The data wizard is a tool that creates AutoCAD and spreadsheet tables from AutoCAD and Civil 3D entities. All types of tables, legends, lists, key maps, and quantity takeoffs can be created with data wizard. These entities can reside in the current drawing and external XREFs. Additional drawings are limited to a viewport in the current drawing. So we'll look at some of those workflows. And then here's the Ctc Label Genie. Automatically label your sheets and drawings with both Civil 3D and AutoCAD annotation. Choose anchor objects through property filters, then insert hundreds of labels at once on surfaces, feature lines, polylines, pipe networks, points, and alignments. It just does a lot of stuff, right? So as you start to build this thing and you start building robust labeling systems of your standards, this thing starts to really streamline your putting your plans and annotating them together. Okay, so let's go into the demo. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go into the CAD portion of it, right? Let me go back and look at my PowerPoint. So there we go. And we are going to go over how do I start a project, right? So the first thing I want to do is I got a sheet set over here, right? And the sheet set is going to allow me to start with a template. So if I went in here and I have a CAD setup and I hit new, I have this map to all my template drawings, right? So in my template drawing, I have a base with all my CAD layers. I have a Civil 3D with all my Civil 3D object layers, but I also created a cover page template. I also created a general notes page template, right? So when I just want to say I need a general notes page to add to this over here, I can just click here, open, okay? I have this drawing right here, save it as, into my project, and we'll call this general notes, and save it. And now I have a drawing that I just recreated with all my general notes. Okay, real quick. Now I can create that a site plan, and maybe that site plan, let's do another one. Let's say I do a new one, and we'll just do a base. Okay, and now I have some like where I'm going to create a site plan, and maybe I'd have all my data over here for that, right? All my call out bubbles and such. So we'll say site plan. And now I can come over here and I can start adding those sheets in here because I have a sheet set created. I can go out and add cover. We already got cover, general notes, and site plan, and bring that in. Okay, and what's great about that is how am I saving an annotation? That's what this whole course is about, is these fields down here also. So these fields are attached to the sheet set, and that means the more sheets that I create that are attached here, I can label these and renumber these. All right, so now that these are attached to the sheet set, like I got this kind of going on, say I want to renumber this or name it, I can come over here and I can change this by cover. And then I can make this 01. And you can see now that I have a 01 cover, and this you can see this here, but nothing's changed. So I'm gonna type in REA for regen all. And now I've updated that information. Okay, let's go to the general notes. Same thing. I can come over here rename, and regen. Okay, and now I've linked all that data. So as my sheet set gets huge, see, I don't know what kind of drawings you're working with, from 10 to 20 to 100, this could be a tedious task to constantly go in and update all the page numbers, the title descriptions, and anything that you want to place in here, right? If I go into the cover information, I also have different data, field data that I've actually assigned that's custom. All right, so if I come up here and I right click and I go to properties, and I hit edit custom, you can see I have created these custom tags or custom fields. All right, so if I came in here and I wanted to say ATG training, I could hit OK. Now that I've named that, because this is associated with this sheet set, I could regen all, and I'm changing that data. Okay, so this is multiple data that could be pushed through all your sheets and updated. All right, you're pushing this this one stream of text. Okay, how do I do this? All right, so when you're making fields, you want to come in here. Let's just say I wanted to make another one. Let's copy this guy real quick. Make a couple fields right here and say I want to make this over. Let's go in here and we will convert field to text. And all I have is some plain text there. So how do I create a field in here? So I have a sheet set. And I come over here and I'll showing you how I did a custom. We have stuff that come out of the box I could actually pick inside there. If I want to do edit a custom, I can come over here and pick it. I like to use a number so it stays in order, right? And I could just hit add and I would say use, we'll do 6, and then we'll just say test. And this is for the sheet, not just for the whole sheet or for the whole set, and we'll hit OK. And hit OK. And now you can see this down here, right? Now I've created a custom field and we'll hit OK. So how do I add it here, right? So I come in here and right click or double click inside the text. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, we'll say, let's turn it into, I'm having some problems here. Let me turn this into some multi-text. I'm not sure what is the deal here. Oh, there we go. So once you get in here, you highlight this area and you right click. This is where you're going to insert the field. Okay. So when you get there, you're going to insert the field. This gives you all the data that you can associate fields with. I'm going to do sheet sets, right? So I have sheet set, that's current, custom. I don't see anything because that's just sheet. I always get that confused. But if you come over here and you hit sheet set custom, that's where you're going to see all these different fields or custom fields I've created. And I'm going to go ahead and just say project name, and I've created another one. All right. So this is a very fast way to start to animate or annotate your drawings using all the field data through your sheet set. So as you start to build the sheet, you're not constantly having to put all this data in, the name of the project, the street, the client name, the revisions, the renumbering. All that data could be pushed through the sheet set. And that's another way to animate some of those in AutoCAD, your annotation. All right. Let's talk about some other ways. Let's talk about tool palettes. All right. Tool palettes are a great way to standardize your company. Hands down, man. If you're not using sheet sets by now within your company, you should, because they are powerful. So here we can see where I've kind of created some sheet sets, not sheet sets. I pull this guy over. A tool palette, and I got all these different ones, and I can come in here and specify images. I haven't done that yet, but I'd probably come over here and get that annotation one for multi-leaders. But these multi-leaders and things, you can drag annotation in here. Okay, so if I wanted to maybe grab this right here and drag it into the palette, all I have to do is grab it, click it, and right click. And you see how I'm holding that and I get that little dash square? And if I drag it over to the palette, watch what happens, right? It comes in and gives you multi-text, right? So if you come in here and hit properties, you can start to modify this, right? So it's going to be on that building layer that I created, or that layer that I used. It's going to use multi-text, but it's not going to give me that. Let's see if I should have created a block or something out of that, but it's going to just give me the command, right? And then I'll say proposed something, but it's on that layer. You know, I'm not chasing layers. It's on that every time I move it. So I wasn't on that layer, but I'm creating text within that layer. All right. What about common things that we always call out, right? So I got remove tree, right? So I want to remove a tree. I don't have one. So we'll say this manhole, or we'll just come up here, right? And I just close it. And it's asking me, do I want to overwrite the default text? And I'll just hit the space bar and say no. And I have remove tree. Okay. What about remove an inlet? I come over here, I pick it, come over here, hit space. I'm doing that. See how fast that is? Remove a manhole. All that is just automated and a backspace, remove catch space. How do I make that, right? Same way, if I come over here, click it, right click, start to push that over there and you'll start to see it move. And now I got a multi-leader. Let's go into those properties. And you can kind of see there's that default text. You can modify it, right? And then we just want to change the name, right? So I like that to call it this. I'll copy that. And you come over here and you right click and you go properties. I'm sorry, you go rename. And you paste. And then now I got that working. So multi-leaders are great for you know, bringing into the palette, having all this custom text that you're always, you know, always typing. You know, if not, I'd have to come in here and let's say I don't, and then I say yes, so that means I'm in that command. So then I have to type in, you know, every time remove tree. Okay, and then I would do it again. You know, you want to have all that, right? So this just kind of building this is awesome to kind of get there. The other thing about it, it keeps it on the same layer. You're keeping within standards, right? As you do this and label things. All right, so that's multi-leaders. Let's see if we have any questions or anything. No. If you feel like adding any questions as I go along, please add it to the chat. I'll answer them as I go. If I can't answer it and I don't know the answer, we'll get back to you, okay? Through an email or text, or we'll reach out to you. All right. All right. So we did some of that. We got some multi-leaders. What about these guys, right? So we have dimensions, and we could do all that and set it, but I can also do dimensions that way, right? So here's a linear. I can come over here and pick. Ooh, that one's not going good, huh? I must be looking at my standard. Oh, well, but I must have did these early. I thought I did them. Oh, I got some scaling issues going on. Oh, let's see if I can, oop, totally, there we go. Messing up here, messing up. Oh, I'm in the layout. That is the reason why. So when I come over here, I was in the layout doing all this. I apologize. Now if I do this, let's see, if we come over here, we're still getting that. We still are. Huh, did I change some scales on there? I must have. But once you get this working great, you can animate or dimension these very quickly. I know this is not working, but I can just come through here and then I pick. This was great, not working, but I'm not sure. These must be all annotative. Let me see what's going on here. Modify text. It's on the standard, and I did. Okay, we're not going to get too in there, but you can see my point, right? Once you get this working here, I can just go and pick and pick and pick, and then just start animating this and starting to dimension this site plan. All right, pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about legends, right? So we can create different legends, then we can put them in our, have them all ready, all their different symbology and stuff, and then we can throw them in the palette, right? We could create our little legend here with all our stuff and then kind of make a block of that and then bring it over here, right? And then we just bring it into our sheet and now we're ready. And what about other things, right? So what happens when I make a custom legend? Well, what we can do is I got a manhole here and I was thinking about how could I use the data wizard to kind of get some estimating done, right? So this is kind of a new little site plan that I had. And let's say I have this sanitary sewer run coming in here. And I created some pipe runs here, some different, I got a sanitary pipe, manhole and a sand pipe that I drug over here and modified in my palette. So let's say I want to drag this one over. We'll put one maybe here, and then I'll do another one that's going to do a tie-in. And I'm just making this up. And then maybe we're coming through here and maybe down to a lift station or something. I don't know. We're just kind of making this up, but I want to know how many I have so I could kind of get crazy with the cheese whiz and start putting all my manholes out and start, what is the count though? Like how many linear feet, how many sanitary manholes did I put? How can I get quantities from that? So I'm going to go ahead and put the pipe in. So we'll go ahead and hit sand pipe, and then we'll go center. Oh, I should have put one there. Let me go ahead and keep it going. And we'll put one right here so I can click it. All right, and then we'll do a sand manhole. I'm gonna explode this because I wanna have some great things. So let's should it break? Did it break? Yeah. So then we wanted this to break, and then I want them to go ahead and do a P edit, and let's make them polylines. But I wanted to have segments, like so many segments in here, right? And we'll just say yes, and then we'll say width, and we'll say 0.5. Okay, so I have something I laid out, and all I'm trying to say is I want to know what the linear feet is and how many manholes I put out, right? So we can come up to the CTC tools, and this is a great little tool for making legends, right? So I can go to set it up. Let's start to set up the label, the data wizard. And then we'll come over here, and this is where you can start to, a little thing coming over. We can save different templates, these whole little scenario that I'm about to do, and we can save them out. Once you hit this, right, we're gonna come to the ribbon and we hit Project Suite, we move over here, and then we're gonna look in this data right here, Data Wizard. And then we're gonna set up the template or the table, then the template. Here's where I can save it out to, okay? Then I can kind of do it in the current drawing. I can do external drawings and certain things and pull this in. Today, we're just going to go through it. I'm going to go next. And here's all the different objects that I could choose and create a table from that's in this drawing. I can check all, right? And then start making through there and kind of refresh it. And it told me all the objects that are in here, right? Kogo or blocks, there's 13 blocks, there's polylines. This is all the data that it's finding in the drawing. Right now, I just want to concentrate on P lines and blocks. So we're going to uncheck everything, and we're just going to do blocks and P lines, and then we'll go next. Once I come over here, I can kind of open this up, and you can kind of see, hey, look, I got this selected. I could do arrows. We're going to hit how many manholes. I had 5 manholes. P lines here. I actually saved this from when I was doing this, so I remembered what I chose from before. And then I get sand manhole, and I got 391 and 87 linear feet of that. So that's great for estimating. I just jump in there. You got a project manager, somebody who's not really good with Civil 3D, and that's how it kind of starts, right? You kind of draw your 2D drawing up, and then we create Civil 3D objects from that 2D data. We could have some project manager engineers come in there, use this palette, and then do takeoffs really quick before we jump in there. Then we take that line work, and then if the job is won, then we'll start to design in 3D, right? So let's keep on going. So I'm going to hit next, and we'll have different tables it could create. So you can see that I've used these here, and I could grab these and move them around on how that table is going to be put together in AutoCAD. Same thing here with the P lines. I got the layers, and this is how the table is going to look. I can create an Excel spreadsheet of this, and that's always great in case I have to put the quantities in Excel and all my standardized spreadsheets and such and do calculations. You could also do that. We'll go ahead and just create a table, and we'll hit finish, and I'll just go ahead and put that right here, and it's going to kind of do its little thing, and you'll see that I have 5 manholes, and I have 4 P lines that are equal up to 391 linear feet of sanitary pipe. Now, like I assume it's like 8 inches. and so forth, and you can add that data. What happens if I start adding more, right? You know, so I got to keep it going. So let's say I put another manhole over here. Maybe we got to come out. Maybe we'll do another one over here. I'll go ahead and click this, and I can just use the add to selected command, and we'll center here, right? I'll do that, show you again, that add select is a cool command. You can add to selected, and then we'll take whatever command object that I'm using and go into that command and use the layer that it's on, that it's properties of. Pretty cool, right? So there's some more links of pipe, but my table is still not updated. And that's where I'd come up here and just hit update table. I'll pick this. We'll open up. Okay, and this dialog box will open up, and then you'll hit OK. And there you'll see the updated links of pipe and such. That's a pretty cool tool, you know, just to lay out some stuff and get the counts and such. We could do catch basins, we could do water structures, hydrants, all those different blocks that we start to bring in our drawing to start getting quantities right away at the beginning. You know, even if we don't win it or we're trying to win it, we can at least do some takeoffs really quick. Okay, and that is a data wizard, right? Pretty cool tool in the CIM Project Suite. All right, let's keep on going. All right, any questions on that? Please add it to the chat about doing some tool palettes, anything that you would want to see about creating these and stuff. Go ahead and throw it in there so I can answer those questions. Let's move on. So we talked about attribute data, and we talked about legends, and we talked about palettes, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the map portion, right? So map, right? So here's this little subdivision, and in map, you have GIS data. And GIS data has usually object data attached to it when you bring it in. So how can I animate some of that or annotate some of that when it comes in? And that is basically using attribute data. So you can create attribute data using attribute defined templates. You can also create it within the block using map annotext. And then as that block and matches comes in, it will put that data in. Let's go ahead and look at some of those workflows. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in map import. And it's gonna bring me out, and I'm gonna grab these two sanitary pipes and the sanitary structure, and I'm gonna bring that in. And this is gonna bring me to the map import dialog box. Now look at, I do have a coordinate system set. If this coordinate system was a different coordinate system, that it would match as is imported. But sometimes most of the time it's gonna be in the same coordinate system, right? You can come over here, here's the input. Here's the layer that it's gonna be put on, right? And then we have the coordinate system, and here's the important part that we're looking for is the data, right? So this has object data attached to these shape files. When I click here, you got to watch for this three little buttons right here. We pick, and that's going to create object data. When I click that, it brings to the pipes. That's the object data table. And if I select here, you'll see all that attribute data that is tied to it. So I can pull any of this information and stick it in a label as it comes in. Or I can define a template and then select it and then annotate it later. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now you can see sanitary pipes. I'm going to come over here and click, and we're going to click here, and we're going to do structures. I'm going to hit select, and here's all the attribute data that's going to be tied to the structure. We'll hit OK. And now I have that. So now what I want to do is I created a block in here with some attribute. It's down here a little bit. It's called sand manhole, right? So pipes is going to be just lines. It's not going to be a point, but I can map a block with attribute data in it here. Now, usually this is the step that everybody misses. They come in, they set up their block, and then they just hit OK. And there's a one last step that everybody misses. It's this last little button right here. And once you bring that in, it says get attribute values from fields. And that's usually where everybody misses and why their block is not populating with the data. So that's a really critical step when adding this, all right? So we hit OK. This is all pre-set up. We go ahead and hit OK, and it brings in all that data. If I come over here, it pulled in the structure name and the rim elevation that that field had. Pretty slick, right? So I'm annotating, bringing in GIS data by mapping fields and attribute data, all right? So that's another way through Civil 3D that we can automate annotation through map. What about other things? Can I add it after the fact? Yes, you can. Let's first talk a little bit about the block attribute, all right? So this block attribute's over here. I just have some plain text in here. But if I right click and I go into block editor, you can start to see that attribute definition there that was hidden, and then the name, okay? So how do I get that in there? So you're not gonna find it in the ribbon. It's a command that's just hidden. I think it had it in the earlier versions, but it's called map annotate, right there. You hit that, and the first thing it's gonna ask you is pick something, right? And I can pick something, and then what it's going to do is I can overwrite that one if I pick it, or I can overwrite that one if I pick it. If I want to create another one, I can hit spacebar or enter, and it's going to bring me to this dialog box that annotates annotation text. And these are my tags and my values that I'm going to create. Okay. We're just going to edit one. We're going to do both. We're going to edit one first, and then we're going to create a brand new one. So again, I'm going to type in map, Anna, text. I'm going to select the name, and I'm just going to look at it a little bit, okay? I want you to understand how it's set up. So once we first saw the other one, this was all blank. So the first thing I do is I come over here and I choose this, and it brings up the expression chooser. And I'm going to go to object data, and there is that data that's in this drawing, okay? Once I do that, I come over and look what I'm doing. It's the structure, name. All right. Now the key to this is when I select this, I have to make the tag. I select it. I have to make this tag the same. It doesn't matter if it's case sensitive or not. It has to be the same, not that little colon in the front. That it just has to be the name. I use like around a 3, and then you would hit OK. And then it's asking you, where do you want to put that new location? Okay. And then I just put that in there. Now I've added that. All right. So let's go ahead and add something new. So we'll go ahead and we'll do map annotate. This time I'm just going to hit enter, and we are going to put some object data. We'll do the structure, and we will say the we already got that. I added that. The network name. We'll just do field ID, something that's in there. And then what do I have to do? I have to name this exactly the same. Okay. And I got to make this 3 because that was a little small. The layer, I didn't put it. I don't have it on anything. We'll just keep it. And I'll hit OK, and then I'll put that right here. Right, and so now I have this field ID in here, and now when that comes in, it should recognize the field, the feed ID. All right, so let me close that, save the block. Nothing is there. Okay, so it has to come in. It does it when it brings it in and transfers that data. All right, so let's try it real quick. I'll go ahead and hit erase. Let's do this one more time. Right, we'll do the map import. Select it pretty good. Should have created this, and it does not remember every time, but we'll go ahead and go with it. We pick here, right? I hit OK. I don't have to show you because I showed you before how to see it, right? Object data, structure, there's those fields. We hit OK. We want to get that manhole, right? And then this is set up, yes, 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 and then we hit OK. And now we're getting that feed ID. And I forgot that last step in the map thing. And that's where I was telling you, that's what happens is I forgot this one little thing just shows that you always forget. And what it was is this one right here. This little guy. Right here. Well, I have to hit it first, but you have it here. Let's see if I can just bring it back in and double it up to show you what I mean. We'll have text on top of text, that's fine. We do this, we map it, we hit this, we get attributes. That was what I missed. That's why it's showing me the field name. I hit OK. You can see that underneath it now. Okay, I brought in the right data. All right, so I just wanted to show you how to bring in GIS and how to automate annotation using map, right? Let's talk about some other ones. There's other data, right? So I'm using object data. If I click here and I look in the properties, you can see the object data. All right, so here's all that object data. All right, so if you come over here, let's pick on this pipe. There's all that object data. Okay, so I know it's a part size, part name, and such, right? So I can come back and start using, I'm gonna have to come over here and go to planning and analysis in map or Civil 3D. It's gonna bring up the map tools, right? We're gonna go to annotation. And here's where we're gonna define templates right here, map annotation. Okay, so first thing you do, you can hit define a template. And basically I have one already created, right? So once I create this, I just hit new and we will, you know what, let's just do a new one. We'll do new. And I'll do the same one, sand pipe. And I'll do mat just for material something so you can see it. We'll just do mat and hit OK. And now I'm in this dialog box, right? So now I'm in the block editor here, okay? So the same thing. Now the key about making this attribute data inside here, it's a little tricky because the scaling as you look in here. So what I like to do is take a circle and I'll do 0, 0, and then I'll do like 3. And then I do zoom extends and it brings that right to me. So I know that's that's where 0, 0 is, right? So that's where my text is going to lie. So I like to use some kind of reference point. We'll type in map and a text, right? I'll just hit enter to move into it. We're going to actually do the material of pipe. We'll go in here, object data, pipe. We'll do pipe size, was it? Inner diameter will do. And then what I'll do is I'll come over here and got to do inner diameter. And I got to copy that and then bring that over here. And again, don't leave that colon in there and hit OK. I use kind of 3 foot or 3 in height. And I'll go OK. And it's asking me where do I want to put it. And I'll go ahead and just put it right there, right? Pretty close to 0. All right, I'm gonna move it up just a tad. You know what? I'm gonna move it like it's gonna be, this is the pipe. Okay, maybe move it a little closer. All right, so now I've created this inside diameter that I want to create for my template. Let's go ahead and close that. And it's say ACAD Anna template sand is created, save. All right, so here's where I've defined that template. It's going to be on a feature corridor layer. Maybe I should put that on something else. Is there anything annotative in here? Annotation, miscellaneous or something, there you go. And then we can hit apply and hit OK. So now I define that template, all right? And what I'm looking to do is if I click this and I hit Control-1, oh, here it is, still there. I'm looking to get the inside diameter. It's gonna give me a 0.67. I should change it. I wanted the part size. You know what, let's change it. So let's go ahead and define, let's edit that. So we'll go ahead and define that template and we'll go here and we'll hit this one and then we'll hit, no, edit template contents. Oh, I did part size. That's the other one. That's the other one. That's why. Disregard. Did that one. So let's edit this one. Okay, so let's do this one. We'll do it again and edit this one, map, and a text. And then we'll select this. And then we will change this. And we'll do pipes, inside diameter. No, we did that. Part size. And then we'll grab this guy, copy, and then paste. And then I'll just put that guy right there. And then we'll say, okay, and then we'll close this and say there. And then we'll start annotating some of these pipes in here, right? So what I like to do is if you come in here and you select this, and I'll right click and select similar. I got the pipe running here. I go to annotate. Let's go ahead and insert it now. So we defined it, right? We defined it, and now we have different ways to insert annotation. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit insert. Right? And what it's done is it's put that 8-inch PVC on all my pipes. Not sure why I did the structures. But again, you can annotate through map using defined templates and map annotation. And that was going to help you automate some of this text and annotation that comes into Civil 3D using GIS data. Okay. Any questions on that? Please let me know. And in the chat, let me check the chat. All right, nothing in the chat. All right, we'll keep on going. All right, let's move on a little bit and let's talk about the famous Label Genie. All right, so the Label Genie is a really great tool. It helps automate a lot of this annotation and such, right? That we constantly do, right? So it has all these different things that you can modify using or annotate using the Label Genie. All right, so when you hit Label Genie, it opens up and it gives you this dialog box, right? And you have all these different things that you can save out. And if I click this and load it, it remembers this configuration. So this is kind of where you pick what you're going to label, right? Your label, all the different types that you're going to label, your anchor points or objects, how many objects are going to label, where you're going to have that anchor point. You got to pick the object name, maybe the surface name, the alignment, the layer, right? Stuff like that. And then the formatting is going to be over here where you kind of create custom content, but then you're also picking styles and stuff that you want to push out of there. Okay, just to give you an overview of Label Genie. Okay. So let's go ahead and annotate some of this stuff, right? So some of the fancy stuff that I like to annotate is we could do, let's just kind of run through some of these scenarios. So we'll go through Label Genie and we'll go and do some of the first one, station offsets on trees. So I'll go ahead and load that one. And basically what this is going to do is going to put a station offset and then it's going to put a block on any layer that's on. And there's a little bit of wild card there. It's going to, how many count? It's going to find 85. It's going to pick the alignment evergreen. That's the object, right? And if you come over to format, and these are the no marker style, it's just going to do a station offset. Let me just kind of move this over. And then we'll go ahead and add labels. And then that's what it's going to do. It's going to add 185 labels, okay? And it's going to put that out there and hit okay. And now if you go out here, you got this is evergreen. And you have all these different labels now. It's 134 feet linear feet from this alignment. Okay, that's a pretty cool. All right, let's go through some more other ones here. Let me zoom out a little bit. All right, so let's talk about how do I label all these lots, right? We can do that too. So we can come over here and we can pick and we can do lot labels and areas. I can load that. And how this is working is there's actually a block with attribute data in it, and we load it and we're picking blocks, and we are going to use the polylines, and it's going out and picking full lots that are in there, that layer. The anchor point is going to be the centroid of this location. It's going to be plan type. And then in the formatting over here, this is like the polyline and some of the area stuff that the lot, there's the counter, some of the little bit of setup, but it's not very difficult. And this is the layer it's going to be on and the block definition that we're choosing. All right. So let's go ahead and come over here and we'll look. Let me kick this over. And I've set this up and I want to see if we're going to lay these all out. Let me go ahead and hit add. It's going to add 125 labels and we'll say yes. And you can see where it's went through here and it started labeling the lots 1 through. And how am I controlling that? It's very simple. It's just a block that's being dropped in here with around some closed polygons for each one. And basically you can kind of go around your site and do a little B poly, right? And you just kind of pick and you just kind of pick, and then you just get those in there, right? But how do I control it, right? So if I do lay fall, you can see this P line in here. That's where the start is. So that's kind of the non-plot of how these are all laid out. So it comes around here, goes this direction, crosses, and starts to renumber. So this is 53, this is 52. It comes around here, goes around the lot, and it finishes, right? And then it actually starts over, and you got some new lots, right? So let's go ahead. How can I reverse that, right? And it's called reverse. So if I come over here and reverse the P line, right? The object has been reversed. This whole thing is going to be backwards. It's going to change. How do I do that? I come back in here. I go to Label Genie. All right. I still do the same one that I had before. Just load it. And I run it again. And it remembers everything that I did. Yes. And it deletes and puts new ones in. Now I've started here, and I've actually started here by reversing this P line, and that's how this all labeling for lots work. Pretty cool. All right, so you could pretty much put this and add it to your palette and have it all ready, and just draw it around and then put these labels in. Let's talk about some more. Open up the Label Genie. This one's a cool one. So this one works for closed polylines. So you have dimensions on buildings, right? So if they're in this drawing, let's see if I have this in here. And we come to this little building right here, and this is a closed polyline, or there just has some edges. We could go here, and let's see if this will work. We got Label Genie, and we will put in the dimensions of the building, right? And it's doing dimensions, and we're doing a polyline. That's that layer. So we can kind of come out here and pick. I'm gonna go ahead and choose that. Right? And then we hit OK. We have the segments, that's fine, and the formatting, standard annotation. And then if I come over here, it'll tell you how many it's going to make, right? So I can come over here and just hit add. It's going to add 18 labels. And just like that, I annotated or dimension this building. Pretty cool. Not sure about some of those, the dimension style, but did that pretty slick, right? So that is another way to use Label Genie to automate some of your annotation. Let's talk about some more. Let's talk about multi-leaders on shrubs. Okay, that's a cool one. If I want to get something and start adding them, right? So I want to have a block out here. So these are all blocks. These are just blocks. And they are blocks, and they're just the name of the blocks here, right? So I can come out here and put right now I have this offset alignment label. Let me select similar and delete those. But I want to put multi-leaders on different ones and such, so I can label all these instead of going around and doing it 1,000 times or 100 times that are in here. We can kind of come in here and hit Label Genie and then set up different scenarios. And then here, look, it says multi-leaders on shrubs. I load it. It goes to multi-leader. Here's the block. There's that shrub. There's the name. Here's the format, keynote, circle. And then I'm going to add, it's going to add 37. And I hit yes and hit OK. And it's going to start to, where can I find some shrubs? It went out and found all my shrubs and put a 2 on it. I'm not sure about that label, but I just clicked it. There you go. So I saved a lot of time animating all that stuff right there. Let's kind of move on, and we'll go to, what about grading? This is probably my best one that I love. This is one is such thing. We have contours that don't have contour labels on it. We can use that also, Label Genie. Nope. You hit Label Genie, and then we'll say I want to label all these contours. I can come over here, and I could set surface labels or surface contours on interval, load that. This is going to do surface contour labels on contours. And then in here, it's going to actually put these at 200 and 200 along the contour. We have different options. I could set this to 500, 100. I could do it in a grid fashion. Whenever I click it, that's the operation it's going to do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to move this off to the side, and I'm going to see and hit Add. And it's got 247 labels, and we'll hit Yes. And it's going to run through and put contour labels on my whole drawing for me. It does a really good job, I felt, kind of throwing that around there for you. That's pretty quick. Let's talk about grading, right? Some of this is here. So this is a graded lot, and we have pads in here, and then we have to get some labels on here to at the front, here and here and here, right? And then we'd have to come up here and go to annotation, and then go to surface and hit spot, and then we would pick and we'd pick the surface, and we would have to come and hit maybe the node or the insertion of this, right? And then populate all of it, and that would take a lot of time, and this is always changing, right? So by using the auto grader and this Label Genie routine, man, it will really speed up your grading. So basically what you're doing is you come over here and you go to Label Genie, and you pick. And what you can do is you come over here and you go to, now these are all pre-done. I can save these configurations. These are all pre-saved. We're going to do surface spots on lot lines. We'll hit load. So what that's going to do is going to put a spot, and it's going to go out to a feature line. That feature line is lot lines. So it's going to go out to lot lines, and it's going to find lot lines. It's going to put this spot on every node that's out there. Let's talk about some of the anchor points. Now, this is every anchor point on that feature line. Maybe I want to change it up, but I don't want anything on the back of lots. So I'm not going to do anything, nothing on the end of object, okay? So we'll say, okay. I'll go to formatting, and then I have elevation only, and then I have basic. And you can come over here and you can kind of move this around a little bit so I can show you here as I hit this. I can hit object count. It's going to create 122 labels for me, right? So we'll go ahead and hit add, 361. I hit save, and you can see out here where it starts to build all my labeling for me. And we'll hit OK. Now, I would probably move these around, but you can see it added all these elevations, spot elevations to my site, right? That's pretty slick. And then look what it did. It didn't put anything on the end. All right. So I wanted to show you, let's go ahead and put some on the end by itself. I just want to label the back of lots, right? I can do that. I could come up to Label Genie. I can pick the surface spots on lot lines, and then load it. And then on the anchor point, I'm going to choose none, and I'm just going to choose that endpoint now. And I'm going to hit OK. And then it's going to show me that's going to do that. It's found those lines. Let's go ahead and see what it's going to do. It's going to add 122. And they're going to hit OK. And you can see now I've added all those on the back of lots. Okay, and then the more I run this, if I keep on running it, it will delete all these and replace them constantly. As you start to move these around, right? And say I move that one, it's going to update my, watch it crash on me. Nope, nope, come on, don't do it. A lot of contour editing here. I move this back, and you can see, you know, now this is not in the correct location. I could run Label Genie again, because maybe I changed this hole and added a swale or something, and all this moved, or maybe these turned from A to B lots. I would just come in here and run Label Genie again. I would just load it. Right, I'm just going to leave it all, have it replace everything. We'll hit add. Yes, it's going to add 479 labels. It's going to delete all the other ones and then replace it. And then we're going to hopefully going to see that oddball one out, and then you do. Okay, Label Genie is definitely a staple in the game if you're annotating plans in Civil 3D, AutoCAD, tables, such like that. Great tool. Okay, let's see what else. Let's talk about pipes. All right, this will probably be the last thing. So we can come through here and we can use annotation here, right? So these are all your piping things. That's the same thing in Label Genie. But even if I did a pipe run, right, I'd have to do a pipe run. And then I would get this dialog that everybody's familiar with, right? And you can pick everything entire, you can do the entire profile, that, but this is basically only one run, okay? So if this run isn't connected to another run, I got to do it twice. If I have multiple profiles, I have to do it every single time for every profile. Same thing up here. Okay, I got storm, I got sanitary. I have to label all this, and I'd have to pick, and then do one run, one profile, one by one. With Label Genie, I could set up different scenarios to label my pipe networks in plan and profile view. So we can come over here to Label Genie. And run some scenarios. We'll do pipe networks and plan view. We'll label all the plan view. Okay, here's my label type, plan view, or pipe networks. Pipe network, I got to go pick it, right? So let's do the storm. We'll do the storm. We'll do the drainage, right? So I had to pick the network and hit OK. I come over to formatting. I got a style mapping. Let's go there and we'll there. This dialog box pops up. Right now, I'm looking at the pipe network style mapping. So this is my my parts list, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do the storm. That's where I'm gonna map it. And you can see here's my pipe, and I wanna change these styles right here. So all my pipes in profile, the style that I wanna use is profile, 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 and these are all my standard label styles. We'll do this as plan style, that's fine, storm, plan, and we'll just do profile. I'm just showing you profile. So these are all my structures. We have all that preset. Oh, this used to be profile. All right, some kind of scenario, and we hit OK. If I come over here and I go, I can go and start to see how many it's going to label. 49. We go ahead and hit OK. We hit yes. Hit OK. And now I've went through and I've labeled all my pipes, right? With one swoop, right? You could do that. It's great, but that was in plan view. And I could probably do that with the annotation, but what about these profile views? I got a profile here of storm, some profile storm here, and then all through here. So I'd have to do that multiple times. So let's do profile storm. We'll go ahead and do Label Genie. And then we'll run this storm profile and load it. And I have to do the same kind of setup, profile. I want to use storm. Okay. I got to go over here and do the same thing because I didn't save it. We'll hit storm. Pipes profile needs to be profile. And I could have saved this out to that template file. And then we'll do this one. This needs to be plan, and then this needs to be profile. We'll just make it all profile. Catch basins, profile. Now we have those all set up. And now if I come out here and I look and see what we're working with, 49. And let me see if I can add those, and it's going to add 88. And now you can start to see it's going to go through and annotate all my profiles. I probably picked some odd ones here, but I have all that in here now in every profile. So I could start to move this around and automate all these different labels and such that it produce. All right. Pretty cool. So this was Civil 3D, automating in Civil 3D. We did AutoCAD, we did Map 3D, we did Civil 3D. Then we talked a little bit about Data Wizard, and we also talked about Label Genie. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. You all will receive an email with the recording and other helpful resources after this event. If you're watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like our channel on YouTube. It will also keep you up to date with some of the content and what's coming out. I thank you for all attending, and I hope to see y'all soon. Thanks.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.